Hey, I'm Georgia. I'm the owner of Sonderling and Fat Ass. And this week we're going to talk about what it is to be odd and embracing that and just truly being yourself.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show, your premium destination for exclusive insights into journeys of, I'd like to say, oddballs that are shaping our industries today. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and today we've got a guest whose story is as dynamic and creative as the designs that she crafts. Now, Georgia, how are you doing today?
Really good. Thank you, Prosper.
Absolutely. Well, before everybody starts clicking the offended button, I did call you an oddball, right? You have given me permission to call you weird as much as I desire in the show, haven't you?
Absolutely, absolutely. That is our brand name, Sonderling. That is what oddball means. It's actually a German translation.
Right. Yeah, because if people on social media, they'll be clicking that offended button, like, oh my God, why are you calling me weird? But it's actually really, really cool. And for those that are watching right now, thank you so much for choosing the Online Prosperity Show, for being that place where you explore the weird people of this world. And if anything, sounds funny saying that, Georgia, doesn't it? Like, but I'm gonna have fun with this. Now, I want you to imagine having to combine your passion for design with the love for cars, and you find yourself on the road that has been traveled by GeorgiaBraun-Hutchison. Now, starting her design journey at a tender age of 12, Georgia's path has been anything but conventional. In this episode, we're going to explore Georgia's evolution from young design enthusiast to now being the founder of Sonderling, as she has been trying to tell me that, yeah, it is cool to be weird. And it actually means oddball in German. And it is a graphic design agency that encourages businesses to confidently embrace their unique identities. And we're going to dive into her creative ventures that also include a chicken brand, fat ass, and all these things that are designed to get us canceled, on any social media platform today. But yeah, it does offer a quirky range of bumper stickers and air fresheners that have actually been turning heads and sparking conversations. As you can see, it's not easy introducing somebody this weird in your everyday conversations. But hey, buckle up and join us on the road through the weirdness that Georgia is creating out there. And I think by the end of this show, you will have found a kindred spirit if you are weird yourself. Now, Georgia, I think I'm running out of puns of weirdness here. I'm the one that's now starting to really become weird. Your journey started at age 12. Can you maybe tell us a little bit about what it was like around those days? Because I've got a 10-year-old that I can't even get to eat breakfast on her own. So I can only imagine what she will be like at 12. So maybe inspire us and let us know what it was like for you at 12.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think my journey really started in terms of understanding truthfully where I wanted to go in my career. Because of course I had very humble beginnings during primary school, wanting to be a dog walker because I love animals. Then went to the other side of the spectrum and wanted to be an astronaut, thanks to my dad's influence, because he is an ex-fighter pilot, which is very cool. But I've very humbly landed in the middle I would have been around 12 years old in year 7, where I decided I wanted to be a graphic designer. And that all came about because at the time I was actually in hospital, and there was another young girl in my ward, and she was in year 12 or year 11, and she was studying Viscom. And I walked over and we were chatting, and I saw her working on her computer. and it looked so cool. I still remember she had Photoshop open and she was changing the color of someone's scarf for a poster on Photoshop. And I just said to her, what are you doing? What are you studying? And like she said, oh, this is Viscom, it's graphic design. And I said, oh my God. And it was just, yeah, that was the moment for me where it just ignited a spark. I think I'd always been very creative. And to me, it just sounded like the perfect path to actually blend creativity with something that I could end up turning into a career. So yeah, it was really nice at, like, I guess a dark time in my life where I was in hospital is actually where this love for design came from.
Absolutely. Oh wow. And it's quite weird, the places where you find inspiration. I mean, other people are just sitting there wanting to get well, and that's where you actually came
100%.
face to face with your now path. But you did mention that dad was a pilot, and I know
Yes.
pilots are obviously high achieving people. Was there sort of an
Mm.
expectation on your part to do well, be well, and achieve more?
I don't think my parents ever really, that they were never like super strict or like, setting those expectations. I think I've always set them for myself, and I'm honestly not too sure where that comes from. But I just, from a very young age, I think I just wanted to be able to provide for myself and not have to stress from a very young age. And I think like that didn't come till a little bit later. Probably like towards the end of high school, where I was just like, no, like I really want to be able to fend on my own and be able to do things myself. And I knew to do that eventually I might want to start a business, which obviously came later on. But I was already thinking those things at quite a young age.
Absolutely. But before you walked into that sort of hospital, you had the premonition of wanting to be a dog walker, and then obviously becoming an astronaut. Now, I found a bit of a thread in all of that. Apparently, there was a dog that was sent to space. Would that have
Yes.
been the connection, that after having walked a dog?
Hey, that could have been good fun, definitely. Maybe eventually I could have been the person that took the dog to space and we could come back together, because I know that poor dog didn't get to come home. So
Absolutely. And what was the inspiration around walking dogs?
I think I've just always really loved animals, and I actually did spend some time, gosh, it would have been maybe 4 years ago now, but I spent about 2 years volunteering for Hillsville Sanctuary, and like going even further back, when I did my work experience, I did not, even though I knew I wanted to be a graphic designer, I didn't get industry experience. I volunteered at the RSPCA. So that's, I think it's always just been something that I've always really loved animals. And yeah, so that was just something that has, yeah, continued through my life, even though I'm not obviously a dog walker. But I think it would definitely be a fun job getting to work with animals full time.
Absolutely. And obviously, I'm not sure how this question will sort of sit, but you were in hospital at the time that this was happening, and the fact that you could walk across to what the other girl was doing, so that means you probably were healing.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Absolutely. How long had you been in hospital for?
It was about a 5 week stint, so it was a decent chunk of time. But yeah, I've obviously come out stronger the other side, and I think my stepmom is always, whenever I've had tough times, she says to me, you survive 5 weeks in hospital, you can do anything. And I think for me, I always look back at that, because that was an awful experience. And so now, yeah, looking forward, it's something that I definitely use to motivate me.
Absolutely, because pretty much once you saw that, it now gave you a reason for you to want to get out of there and things of that nature. See, in my world, they usually say, to whom much is given, much is required. You probably needed to go through that in order for you to actually be present enough to see that direction, because otherwise you would have been out walking with dogs and would never have seen that computer.
True, that's 100% true. I think I probably would have ended up on the same path, just because I always, being young, was always, we had an arts and crafts box and I was always drawing and making. But I think it definitely probably would have delayed my path a bit longer before realizing and maybe not being sure where I wanted to go.
Absolutely. And pretty much after that, you just woke up and became an oddball then.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, no, it actually took me a long time. I think I was, well, I think I was always an oddball, but I think it took a very long time for me to be comfortable being an oddball. I think I always wanted to fit in with the cool kids. I always felt a bit weird and was very shy and scared to be myself. And it took a long time and actually took, it probably wasn't until the last maybe 3 or so years that I've really started to come into my own and be comfortable with where I'm at and just be comfortable in myself. And it's something that I like during that growth process has just been amazing. And it's an awesome feeling. And I really I hope that I can say little things or give little nuggets of, just to people that can make them comfortable to be themselves. And the same goes for businesses, because I think, we all try and fit in a little box and do the right thing, and to actually just be authentic and be you. In the end, that's what people want. That's who people want to talk to.
Understandable. But you would also understand, Georgia, that as human beings, we're societal creatures and we are obviously wired for connection. And
Absolutely.
that whole wanting to fit in obviously
Mhm.
is instinctive in as much as that determines our survival. Now, could
Yes.
you maybe frame for us what that wanting to fit in sort of look like for you? Because some people would think that that pretty much is what life is supposed to be like.
Yeah, no, I think like going back to kind of high school or primary school days more so, where I just wanting to be, I guess, a cool kid and never really being in with that crowd. And I mean, I had experiences where I was told that I wasn't allowed to hang out with someone anymore from the group. But I think a lot of kids probably go through that. But it's something that then I always just felt like I didn't belong. But of course, I ended up having fantastic friends through high school and all of that, and still know some people from primary school. So not shitting on everybody, but I think there was definitely a time when I just wasn't sure where I belonged and wasn't necessarily happy. But eventually, through finding the passion in design and then cars, is where I've really started to come into my own and just be comfortable and you know uh, not be ashamed to be myself.
Absolutely. Well, you strike me as somebody who's fully confident, fully authentic, and somebody who's come of age. Now, if all those other kids that you wanted to fit in with would see what you're doing right now, what do you reckon they would be saying? Or what have they said if you've come across them? Like you said, you still come across some of the people at school, from
Yeah.
school.
I think, I mean, I get a lot of people saying that they're really proud of me, which is honestly, it's something that makes me feel so warm and fuzzy every time I hear it. And I am genuinely really proud of myself as well. And I think, yeah, it's something that I'm stoked where I'm at. And I think I from recently, I obviously just said that, I've got very high expectations, but and I've learned to, I guess, be kind, because I think we strive for change, but it's not necessarily going to happen as quickly as you want. And that's something I've very much learned in running a business, where you've got to be kind to yourself, be firm with yourself, but like it's okay to just, say, it's all right. I did better than last year. It wasn't as good as I wanted to do, but hey, I'm still kicking goals. So that's the main thing.
Absolutely. Well, we're here now, and I couldn't wait for this to happen. So you can only imagine the reputation that you've created for yourself, Georgia. So
Yeah.
kudos to you. Now,
Thank
before
you.
you founded Sonderling,
Mhm.
you'd done work in major design studios and some really well-known corporate brands.
Yes.
Could you maybe walk us through some of the stuff that you've worked on that you're actually excited about?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think a lot of designers going good. So just to yeah, to step back a little bit. So when I was at university, I ended up getting my ABN first year uni, which I can answer how that ended up happening later. But through uni, even though I had the ABN, I think pretty much all designers that go into uni, they want to work in that top trendy studio. So I ended up being really lucky and got a position at a place called Projects of Imagination, and they do all like they focus on hospitality, but they were an all-service studio. So they did everything from interior design, architecture, and design. So beautiful, beautiful places. So you'd probably know their works of Chin Chin, the Portsea Hotel, Piccolina, really, really, really beautiful brands. So they were awesome to work for. And I got to work with some really cool brands when working with them. But I think for me, when you go into a space like that as a junior, you are a junior. You know, you kind of answering calls and all that kind of stuff. And you're still doing design work, but it wasn't really a space that I felt comfortable. I think it just wasn't me. And I think it's because I just felt like there was just going to be quite a ceiling the whole time. Like, obviously, you've got the directors and the senior designers, and you can slowly climb the ranks, but I just didn't quite feel right there. And then after that, I ended up working as a corporate designer. So I was working as the creative director for Stockdale and Lego. So I was there for about 2.5 years, and working with them was fantastic. And I think I actually enjoyed that more just purely because I ended up having interns, and I had a small team, and I got on really, really well with the marketing director. And we just had a fantastic time helping Stockdale and Lego grow and look fantastic. So I just really enjoyed that, working, also being able to talk to the CEO and the directors and senior management and actually speak directly with the client. Whereas a junior in a studio, you haven't earned your stripes yet, so you don't get to do that. So I think that's what I really, really enjoyed. And it was then through that through midway through COVID, I just thought, life's too short. I've had this ABN since 2014. It is time to see if I could make it work, because I was still living at home. As much as I hate to admit that, I was still living at home because my parents were helping me to let me save for a house. But I was like, this isn't going to be an opportunity that is going to last forever. I need to make or break, see if I can actually do this. And if I can, I've got to go all in, because I'd had the ABN for so long. I'd always said, I'll do a little bit of work after work, but it just never happened. I think I needed to have it all in. I needed to not have another income. I don't think everyone's like that. Some people definitely can build up on the side, but I needed to not have, even though I had obviously a roof over my head as a back support, I couldn't have another form of income, or I was just going to keep being lazy and not progressing where I wanted to go.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. I mean, if you're not hungry for anything, you're never going to apply yourself enough, because you know what, at the turn of the month, you're still going to get paid anyway. But if you know this whole thing depends on you, on your own weirdness, and being an oddball, then obviously, stay weird, my friend, until it actually works perfectly. So you took this leap into full-time employment, and I know it's a lot daunting, but also you did say your parents were putting a roof over your head and things of that nature. But what were some of the things that you also encountered now that you're doing this by yourself? I mean, you've come from a place where you were junior, and then you came to a place where the homeostasis was kind of okay. You were dealing with the owner, but now all the weirdness is now on you.
I think it was very, very scary. The first 2 to 3 months were kind of terrifying, and it was that, is this actually going to work? Because it was, I tried doing Facebook ads, having never done Facebook ads before, and got, zero feedback and zero clicks from that kind of stuff. But eventually, I think everything fell into place. And I've always found in life, when I feel like when I'm on the right path, things just seem to happen that you're like, like this is almost like it's just working. And at that point, after about 3 months, when I was working full-time for myself, kind of, starting to twiddle my thumbs a bit, being like, this is not good. I'm not sure where to kind of go next. I was actually approached by one of my old colleagues from Stockdale and Lego, who had his own app development company, and he invited me to B&I. So it's network marketing. And initially I was like, oh, is this some pyramid scheme? But I looked into it, and he was adamant that it was worth just coming along, free to visit. So what could I lose at that point? But after the first meeting, and I saw that it was just kind of building a network that helps you get word of mouth referrals, essentially. I knew that because all my freelance work previously had only ever been word of mouth, just the strength of that. And I'd never had success in advertising online or anything. So I think it was a no-brainer. So I just dove straight into that. And at the same time, it literally everything always happens at once. Stockdale and Lego actually ended up coming back to me and asked me if I could remain as a contractor. So I ended up then continuing working for them as a contractor. So I still work with them every now and then. Not as much because I templated so much stuff for them to save them money, and that's good for them. But nah, we still work together now, and it's great because I've still got that connection, and it's something that like I said, it fell into place.
Absolutely, and congratulations. You see, so many people have like a false start and then they have to go back again, and things of that nature. But you kind of seem, and you got things all lined up for you. Now, let's talk about Sonderling. We did try and jump into what it means and things of that nature. How did you come up with that name?
So I actually have my mum to thank for that. So initially, when I first went out on my own, it was Georgia Lee Design. But it was last year, I just thought life, I still had a team, and it didn't feel right having Georgia Lee Design as the business name anymore. I just felt like it wasn't really scalable. So it was right when I started, but it no longer just sat right. And I also just wasn't excited by Georgia Lee Design. So I'd kind of lost a bit of the spark for the brand, which meant I think that people probably would have seen that. So I decided it was time to reinvigorate, and I sat down with mum and I just said, look, I want something new, like quirky, fun, but I don't want it to be aggressive. And I actually said to her, I think oddball is nice, but it's too aggressive of a word, and there's a potential to catch people and have them thinking it's a negative, like having a bit of a negative connotation. And mum is German and just said, what's oddball in German? And so we had a look, and it was Sonderling. And I think immediately I just fell in love with it because, one, there is a word there's a beautiful dictionary called the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows. And one of the words in there is Sonder, and it's all about realizing that everybody has a story as deep and enthralling as your own, and that you might just, be an extra in the background and never really get to even know. So you will be the extra to them. And I think that kind of realization had always rung true to me. And I was like, oh my God, like, that's my word. It's essentially that word, but Sonderling. And then the fact that it was just a beautiful juxtaposition to normally what German being a very harsh language, the fact that the German term was so much softer and kinder and just like duckling, like it was just really, just a beautiful little word. So I just thought, that's it. I spent about probably a month tossing between other names, and in the end came back to the first one that mum suggested. So it was my mum that helped me with that name.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And obviously, when you have people like that around that are always, you never know where all this inspiration sort of comes from. And when you then put it all together, it's just perfect. And I love this name. That was the first thing that I said to you. I was like, Sonderling,
Yeah.
So at Sonderling, you encourage businesses to really embrace their weird, embrace
100%.
their own uniqueness. Now, tell me, how do you help clients break free from the mold and maybe confidently start showcasing their identities when we are pretty much brought up to be, straight, and narrow. And so many people don't really want to venture off the trodden path because then they just think, oh, this might not work and things of that nature.
Yeah, I think I very much just encourage them and educate them on the fact that if you are fitting in the mold, you're not standing out. And I think you should always try to be just a little bit different, just that little bit outside the box. And that can just be being authentic, because a lot of the times, especially conservative businesses like, say, accountants or something, though they are very, very much, the blue corporate colors, all their logos look pretty much the same. They don't include illustration, and it can be very boring. And I think looking for and trying to find the fun in that. So adding little things like illustration or having a fun brand, bright colors, so that when people do see you, you stand out and you're memorable. Because in the end, it's so important to remain in the minds of your clients, and that can be obviously through the way you present yourself, but also the way you present your brand. So I just really love working with clients that are ready to kind of just shake that mold off a little bit in baby steps at a time, and just start presenting themselves really well. Because even if it is just actually polishing up an existing brand and making sure that you're just presenting yourself a little bit cleaner, at least in that aspect, you're presenting yourself as a more valuable product. Because if you got jewelry in a Ziploc bag, you'd probably think it was picked up from the trash or something. But if you get it in that signature green box that we all know, it gives it higher value. And it's the exact same with our brands and the way we present our products. If we're not presenting them like clean, that they're not, and nicely packaged, that they're just not going to be, there's no perceived value. So in the same way as standing out, that there's also just presenting yourself professionally. So we kind of help businesses with both of those facets.
Absolutely. Yeah, because so many people, they're really good at what they're doing, but just because they still want to fit into that mold, they now are qualified for a world that no longer exists. And
Yes.
Everybody else is now coming from a place of their mobile phone, and they have embraced their own individuality. And if you're still looking like a corporate brand from that is still partying like it's 1999, obviously that makes it hard. But you literally a showcase of the kind of work that you put out there yourself. You've got your own little sub brand, which I'm a big fan of. Fat Ass.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Tell us a little bit about what Fat Ass does, and obviously your bumper. I was trying this before we jumped on the call, Georgia. That bumper sticks and air fresheners that are obviously a showstopper. And yeah,
absolutely. So Fat Ass is something. It's funny, you were just talking about like having people in your close circle recommending things, because it is something that just came about from suggestion. It was initially, it all started, sorry, let me go back. So it all started because I bought a 370Z, which is a car with quite a wide rear end, and it was my dad that said, you should get the Fat Ass number plates because it's got a really fat ass. And for the first 6 months I said, that's stupid, I'm not doing that. Then eventually I was like, you know what, I'm bored, let's do something with my car. I'm going to get the plates. And Vic Rose wouldn't let me get them. And I was a bit hurt by that. So I ended up with a mix of numbers and, I ended up with a mix of letters and numbers to create what looks like Fat Ass, but isn't quite. And to combat that, I created the sticker that actually has now become the logo, which is Fat Ass. And I slapped that on my car, and it was just meant to be a sign to everybody around me to say, look, just so you know, this is actually what the number plate says. But I had a whole heap of people then actually reaching out to saying, hey, I want a sticker. Can you make one for me? Like, everyone started to want to rock that sticker. And it then just rolled on for there, where I had people saying, can you do beanies? Can you do T-shirts? Can you do, hats? What about air fresheners? And it just continued to grow from there. And I think because I am a graphic designer, it's meant that I can just create. And if enough people ask for something, when I've got the funds, I will absolutely, let's see if we can make this. So it's very much been a community-driven brand by community suggestion.
Absolutely. Because I think even though it has, meaning to you, that sort of statement means something to someone who would have grown up in an era where, having that sort of line made sense. Now, from all of this really showcases a nice transition from somebody who was an introvert to somebody who is now pretty much loud. And even whenever you're driving, your number plate, your stickers, everything is just now a really big extrovert. And this is a significant transformation for those that may not have noticed or known you, but how is you now embracing this true self of yours? Because I think this is something remarkable that you've achieved, impacted maybe your personal and now your professional life.
Yeah. I think in my professional life, I very much embrace it now, where I'm not scared to start a conversation, and I think it's really nice doing that. But I also, I guess I try and share that now through, I host events. I think I mentioned at the start that I host car events once a month, and through that, I invite everybody, and the sentiment behind a lot of that is to, sit on a table where you haven't met someone before, because you just never know who you're going to meet. And I think I've learned that very much through the networking through Sonderling, where you really just don't know who you're going to meet. You don't know who people know, and you don't know the people that you actually share a lot of common interest with that you wouldn't expect. So I'm a big believer in, just coming to an event and just chatting with people, and the amount of people and the feedback that I've had from people that have come to my meets and have made a friend, and come alone, which is a big thing, because I've been there. I go to events by myself all the time, and it's scary every time. Like, even though I'm more confident now, there is still the, oh no, what if I don't have anyone to talk to? But to actually walk away from those events, not just myself, but the people that attend, and be like, I made a friend, it's the best feeling. And I think that's how I'm really kind of trying to embrace and share that, kind of just being comfortable and making connections and friends.
Absolutely. No, I can only imagine what those comments are like. I mean, with all those car scents and the bumper stickers and everything else, that you're swapping there. Now, you did introduce us to a Georgia that was living with her parents during the
Yes.
time you were trying to transition and everything else. But that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. You have
No, this is my office in my house. So yeah, I am so thankful to that my parents let me be in a position to continue living with them until I was, God, I think by the time I purchased it, yeah, when I was 28. So I think but yeah, I hated living at home, but it was a position that meant that I could have a house that is my own, and skip the step of renting. And I am so unbelievably thankful for that, and I'm in no way jaded or confused by the fact that I wouldn't have this opportunity without the house that they let me continue to live in, to continue to save, because it would have taken me a lot longer to be in this position without them. So I'm, yeah, always thankful, and just, yeah, overjoyed by the opportunity that they've given me by letting me stay at home for as long as I did.
absolutely. Well, congratulations. I mean, you're
Thank
no
you.
longer a statistic, and
Yeah.
I mean, not
Yeah.
only is your business, prospering, you're also personally doing incredible things there, and it's just proof that if you really apply yourself, and I think your story really just highlights the importance of authenticity and just backing yourself, and also having a community around you of trusted people, whether professionally or personally, that can actually
Yeah.
be help you be, do, and have a happy existing. Now, how can somebody listening to this maybe apply this lesson of authenticity to their own personal and professional lives? Because so many people just want perfect, just want everything to
Yeah.
look spick and span, and to have a story and a tale that has nothing to do with all the ups and downs that you've shared with us today.
I think is just to really be kind to yourself, and also ask for help. I think that it it most people are so willing to just lend advice, and chuffed as well that you would, like, if you approach someone for help, like, they're chuffed that you would even consider that they might have wisdom. And, like, when people ask me now, for assistance and guidance, I am so happy to share it, because I wouldn't be where I am without the guidance that I had received from other business owners and other people, and just people that you wouldn't expect might give you little nuggets of advice that actually stick with you long term. So yeah, I think just be open, talk to people, and be kind to yourself. If you're not succeeding as quickly as you would like, or if you're not on the path, just say, that's okay. Let's take some baby steps. And literally, like, I think the analogy of even, if you go into the gym, like just even if you just commit to go for 5 minutes, because 5 minutes is better than zero. And then eventually it slowly becomes a habit. And I mean, I started going to the gym when I first moved into this place. And initially I was like, I'll go 2 days a week. I'll go 2 days a week. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, I love this. I want to go 4 days a week. I want to go like, and so as habits grow, you actually, and you realize internally that they're actually making you feel better. I think if you're on the right path, you will navigate and just slowly sway towards being a better you. So yeah, I hope that's helpful for someone. But I guess that's what I would say. Yeah.
Absolutely. I absolutely love that. But, Georgia, you would understand. I mean, in Australia, I've always come across people that talk about, obviously, tall poppy syndrome. So other people now get very afraid to stand out and even showcase who they really are, and let their personality come to light. And some might actually argue that maybe having to pursue like unconventional paths is a little bit
Yeah.
risky. Roads less traveled, they are less traveled for a reason. How would you respond to somebody who's a skeptic and who questions the viability of the choices that you've made?
I think one of the other little philosophies I live by is, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. And I think it's really important to get outside your comfort zone and always just think that, realistically, what is the worst that could happen? And a lot of the time, the worst isn't actually that bad. So to just get outside of your comfort zone, and, even if it ends up just being an exercise where you practice getting outside of your comfort zone, that is really good, because it's a muscle that needs to be flexed and stretched. So I always look for, actually, like, quite recently I've started to feel that I'm being a bit repetitive with my day to day, and I'm like, no, okay, I need to shake things up. I need to shake the tree and just get outside of my comfort zone again. And so I'm putting in some little things to start to do that again, because I think it's just really, really important to be a little bit uncomfortable, because that's how you promote growth.
Absolutely. I quite like that. And what you've just explained there, I don't know if you've ever heard of how a lobster evolves or grows.
Tell me.
And fantastic. So it's in and of itself, a lobster is just a soft, mushy animal, but it's got
Yeah.
an exoskeleton, that shell that is on the outside. So
Yeah.
apparently that shell doesn't grow with the soft, mushy animal inside.
Oh,
So
yeah.
every
Okay.
time the lobster needs to grow, it literally has to crack open that shell and hide
Yeah.
until it grows another shell. And that process keeps on happening. And do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But if a lobster was today's person, they would probably just go to a doctor and be like, "Oh, I'm
Oh, my
uncomfortable."
shell's cracking, it's dry. Yeah, it's like,
And then,
literally. I think we just need to, yeah, just be more comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's how you grow. I mean, being the confident person that I am today, I still remember my auntie when I was probably in about year 12. I was talking to her about public speaking, being like, I don't know how you'll ever be comfortable with that. And she's just said, just pretend. Like, she literally said to me, like, go to the bathroom and just smile in the mirror, and it actually tricks your brain into being happy. Like, it, like, just, and like doing like power poses and all that. Not that I do that very often, but like, it's still, just amp yourself up, because if you just keep pretending and creating the narrative that you are a confident person, eventually you will be. And I am living proof of that, because I promise you, you won't believe me, but I promise you that I used to be so shy and introverted, and would, like, I've always held anxiety and stress in my stomach, so I also always used to feel so sick before presenting at school and all that kind of stuff. But now, I just tell myself, whenever I get that feeling, I'm like, no, this is actually excitement, and it's okay to be excited. So embrace the feeling. So actually try and enjoy the feeling and not dread, nervousness. Be like, no, this is excitement, and tell yourself that and believe that.
absolutely. And yeah, and if somebody has sort of liked all that you're saying and is looking to see how you can help them with their designs or brand and whatever support Sonderling can offer
Yeah.
them, what would be the best way that they can get in touch with you, Georgia?
Yeah, they're welcome to just either check me out on Instagram and shoot me a message, though probably better to get in touch with me via email, and they can literally just email, it's my name, Georgia@sonderling.au. So if they're ever wanting to reach out, I'm always happy to just, love meeting people, love chatting. So yeah, please don't be shy.
Absolutely. I'll make sure that all those links are in the show notes so that people can actually get in touch with you. And maybe you never know, they'll be sitting at your meetups, at your car meetups one day
Yes.
and meeting somebody special to them. Now, Georgia, when we started, you introduced us to a dog walking astronaut who ended up in hospital and found graphic design. That in and of itself is a little kid's book waiting to be written right there. But that's a story for another day. Now, if you would have maybe from seeing that girl doing her Photoshop and then gone back to your bed and a nurse would have come in with your midday medication and just whispered some words to you, reassuring you that everything would be as it turned out in your life, what would you have wanted that nurse to tell you at that time?
Gosh, I think that's a hard one. I think just really like, I think a lot of the time people say everything will be okay, but I think to really, when people say that, really believe it, because I think people say it as a passing comment, but I think it really, everything will always end up okay. And I think it's just to remember that, just keep on keeping on, baby steps, set little goals, like even like the tiniest little goals, just so you get to tick something off at the end of the day. I think is, just, remembering that things can just happen slowly, and that everything will be okay.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that because that is absolutely true. Now, Georgia, I just checked and apparently Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Russell Brunson are selling tickets to go into space.
Oh, really?
Since you wanted to be an astronaut, if it comes and you don't have to pay any money for it, would you take the trip?
Hell yeah, absolutely. I think, again, got to be uncomfortable. It'll be terrifying, but hell yeah, like that's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Absolutely.
Absolutely great. So I thought maybe that went with designs and stuff like that. But I really
Maybe I can bring
appreciate
my dog.
great stuff. But yeah, you've told us where you've been and everything else. What's next? What can people anticipate? What are you creating? What you're working on? What should we be excited about?
Yeah, I think for Sonderling, I'm growing my team, so that's been really exciting. I actually just onboarded a new team member yesterday, so really exciting. So I'm going to continue growing the team. I think you're going to see more and more of Sonderling as that continues to happen. And in terms of badass, you're going to definitely see more asses in more car review mirrors. That is the goal. So keep a lookout, and if you've got one, make sure you hang it up loud and proud. And if you see one, give that person a wave and a thumbs up, because I think it's a cute little, it's a really cute community that's kind of growing. That that is still the thing that shocks me the most about all, like, both businesses, is just the community that I've created through Fat Ass, and I adore that community so much, and I'm so stoked to be, I guess, the in front of that and actually helping nurture that, because I love it to pieces.
Absolutely. I can only imagine the feeling of you just walking your dog and then you see a car that is fully
Yes.
donning one of your stickers.
So every single time, I think it's the same with graphic design, and I think anybody that's like in all like kind of disciplines, when you see your work in the real world, it is just unbelievable, and it never fails to just I get warm and fuzzy every single time. So every single time I see one of those little fat ass air fresheners hanging in a review mirror, I get all giddy and I can't believe it. And I send a photo to my friends. I'm like, oh my God. And people do the same to me. They send me photos whenever they see them, and it's just unbelievable. Like yesterday, speaking of being outside of your comfort zone, I actually went to a punk hardcore gig for the first time where they've got a serious mosh pit and stuff, and I'd never been before. But I had so much fun. And would you believe one of the people there said that, oh, actually, I think my neighbour's got your fat ass air freshener. Like, it's just unreal. So yes, it's good fun, and it's amazing to see how far it's spread already, and I can't wait for it to spread even more.
Absolutely. Well, Georgia, I can't thank you enough for obviously sharing your inspiring journey and your creative ventures that have defined your path. I mean, I think your story just reminds us of the power of authenticity and just the courage to follow it through. And it helps us also. I think you've just given us permission to stay weird, like in your own little weird way. And I appreciate that a lot. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Great stuff. And for those that are watching right now, thank you so much, obviously, for tuning in. And if Georgia's story has resonated with you or maybe sparked a few ideas of your own, I encourage you to maybe connect with Georgia and see what else she's working on, and collaborate on whatever future projects you might have, or share this episode with somebody who is trying to obviously bring out their authenticity out there, but they're just afraid that other people might see it differently than the way that they're looking at it. And I think it's just time for us to really embrace our own weirdness and be that oddball you always have been, through and through. And as you can see from Georgia, you have fun along the way, and once you start seeing your weirdness in real life, then you can now start noticing that it wasn't only you all along. There's a whole bunch of weird fat ass people out there too,
Yes.
So
yes. Definitely.
fantastic. And I encourage you to stay tuned to the Online Prosperity Show, where we explore ideas that will definitely help you cultivate a happier existence. Until next time, keep embracing your own weirdness and pursuing the life vision that you have for yourself. Bye for now.